Welcome to Midnight Coffee with Faisal. Uh, it's uh, it's a very lovely evening here in Kuala Lumpur, and I wish everyone is having a relaxed time. And for those who are regulars with us, welcome back. And for those who are joining us for the first time, please shout out in the box as to where you are viewing this live stream from. Yeah. So basically, this show, Midnight Coffee with Faisal, is about me talking with my guest, ordinary people that are taking extraordinary actions. And most of my guests will be sharing their experiences, whether it's a personal or whether it's their professional sphere, about what are the challenges that they are facing. Yeah, in their professional and personal space. Yeah. Okay, basically, I'm an independent management consultant and a business project management coach. Yeah, and why I say it's business project management coach is that every time when I introduce myself as a project manager or project director or project leader, people have the perception that I come from either an IT background or architecture or construction or engineering and all those things. But they are not wrong. Yeah, they are not wrong because project management has been part of the management evolution during the scientific management era. It's just that since the pandemic, it has taken a center stage uh, where business are looking at new ways of delivering results within the constraint of restricted movement or closed down or lockdown and all those things. So organizations are coming out with new business model to remain afloat, and you cannot achieve the new results by using the same old way of doing things. So you have to change the way of doing things, and this is where project management comes in, because project management do provide organization with some form of options. Yeah, of moving forward, coming out with a new management model using a hybrid sort of model where organizations are becoming more agile and more adaptive to the changing environment. And as you know, today is the 16th, now is past midnight. In Kuala Lumpur now is on the 20th of March, 2022. And time check is 4 minutes past midnight. So the thing is, we are still not over with pandemic, and then we have this uh, geopolitical changes that is happening, where you talk about Russia and Ukraine and all those things, and Middle East still unrest. So the business landscape is changing by the day. Yeah. So with the changes in business landscape by the day, the way you manage the organization, you can no longer use a traditional business as usual. Yeah. So you have to find ways and means to be agile and to be adaptive to all this changing environment. So tonight, we are fortunate to have a very experienced project management expert. Yeah, a good friend of mine. I will let him introduce himself. Alan Mukanov. Yeah. Um he will be joining our conversation tonight, And please, if you have any queries, any opinion, any questions, please shout out in the box, and we will pick it up during the live stream. Yeah, and with that, I will bring my guest, Alan, on board. Yeah, please, please shout out in the box. Hello, Alan. How are you?
Hello, Dr.
Hello.
Faisal. Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Yes. How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah. I think your internet connection is pretty weak.
Yeah,
Hello,
thank you very
Alan.
much for having me today. It's really nice to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's getting better, I guess.
Okay, all right, no problem. The internet connection is not stable. Yeah, the Wi-Fi is not stable, but never mind. Alan, can you tell the viewers, yeah, as to who you are and what are the things that you have been going through, yeah, over the past years that you have been working right now since college days, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot again to you, Dr. Faisal, for facilitating and organizing this session. It's really nice that we'll have a very warm conversation and welcome all the audience, all the watching us now. It's my pleasure to share my experience, my background with you, answer your questions. Feel free to reach out during our conversation. In terms of my background, currently I work as a release train engineer at Tengish, which is actually the largest Kazakhstani company and the biggest taxpayer. Uh, so
Mhm,
it's it specializes in oil and gas and produces and manufactures oil.
mhm,
So my role may sound a bit complicated. Yeah, many people would ask, like, what does it mean, release train engineer? So we'll
yeah.
talk about uh, some more details about what on a daily basis and my responsibilities. So basically, my journey started in Malaysia when I used nationals at Lim Kok Kwan University.
Mm,
So this was a very
mhm,
nice time. 3 years in Malaysia. It's like my second home now. So actually, it gave me a very solid foundation of knowledge and I didn't have any experience, but it was a very good base that I could use when I came back to Kazakhstan. So
mhm,
just when I started my career, my junior project coordinator. At that time, maybe I just had some basic understanding of how companies are supposed to work in marketing, finance, but I didn't have practical experience in project management. It was almost 10 years ago. So I
mhm,
worked in a small business for some time, and then also worked in supply chain management, in procurement, working for Kazakhstani flagship company, airline company, which is
mhm.
Aerostar. Valuable
Ah,
experience, and I know you aviation also, yeah. It should be familiar to you, maybe to someone
yeah.
from our audience. Um, very good experience, and just I decided to keep growing, and I was admitted to New York University, where I
Ah,
completed masters in project management.
ah,
So
okay.
it was a full dive in project. great teamwork, assignments, build projects, and we had lectures from the top companies like SAP and people who worked in Google. So I learned something that I think I could have learned without this program. So it gave me like a second start, and I switched more with the focus on project management and specifically Agile Approach. And
Uh-huh.
and now I'm here. What are my daily duties is that I started with projects like independent projects as a Scrum Master. So Scrum, for those who may be unaware, it's like a version of project manager. Um, to basically what is different is your approach. You give people with scope and all the challenges that you meet with along the way.
Mhm.
And so I worked as a Scrum Master, and I gained some experience, and just changed my position to this release engineer role, or like a program manager. So I currently lead few teams, few project teams. I help theirs to lead their projects, and we developed IT solutions in house for the and we I also support maintaining the existing IT infrastructure company. I have some experience in cloud and cloud technologies,
Mhm.
and just recently I switched to health, safety, and environment. So
Mm.
it's an oil and gas company. We can assume that there is a lot in terms of the impact on the so
We lost you for the last part, Alan. We lost you the last part. Okay. Oops. The Wi-Fi, the internet connection over there is very erratic. Hello, Alan. Alan. Okay. We lost you in the last part of your conversation just now. No, you're talking about cloud, and then we lost you. Can you like repeat what you have said, the last few sentences from the, if you can still remember.
let me maybe try to turn off my video cam
Okay, sure.
when the internet can stabilizes. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and I then just recently I switched to another stream from cloud to
Mm-hmm.
health, safety, and environment.
Mm-hmm.
So we digitalize our solutions on how we can track and minimize impact and report on health, safety, and environment solutions in the company. Let me try to turn on my camera again.
Okay, you go.
Yeah, I'm back. Thanks. And my daily duties is that I communicate with people a lot, with different people, starting from engineers who produce the software and business stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
I facilitate and I organize meetings. I manage budget and help controlling and working on the scope, and
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of activities that you usually associate with project management.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I mean that's what you are currently doing, and you don't mind sharing what are the challenges that you face in running all these projects that you have mentioned, and how do you overcome it, and especially working in projects where you are talking about uh, just get let the viewers get some basics right. You are working with the Kazakh oil company right now, yeah. But you are currently in Thailand, right? You are based in Thailand.
Let me answer this question first. Starting from the pandemic, all started like 2 years ago. We all went to remote work,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been working remote. So I did not hesitate traveling my family and changing my locations, because these
Mm-hmm.
days are pretty flexible with all the technologies and tools that actually we see that it doesn't have much impact on the performance of people unless you know your work well. Yeah, in terms of the challenges, um, maybe I would want to break down this my answers into two different areas, and
Yeah,
the
please.
first one would be more about global challenges, that the challenges that companies usually have these days, and
Mm-hmm.
how agile project management helps to overcome these challenges. So, if we look at the history and like at the evolution of project management in general, like
Mm-hmm.
a few decades ago, like maybe 1950s, 60s, 70s, at around that time, when it was starting, people realized that they need to have some um, processes, some practices to know how to manage projects and achieve their goals. Um, it was Everything was very predictable, and we can see that the industry, automobile, also maybe. So
Mm-hmm.
when you start a traditional project like in these areas, everything is pretty known. A building, say a house, and it's clearly know what's and to achieve the goal. People and teams, they were able to predict the whole plan. They build their plan and they start the execution, and there were not many external factors that may have impact the outcomes, and everything was pretty predictable. And what we see these days, and especially like the last few decades, actually when agile started gaining its popularity in the world, like with, and specifically with the invention of Agile Manifesto in 2001. It's like a short document that describes the values and principles, how agile work has to be organized according to them. And we see that these days there are so many things in the world, external factors that are continuously changing. We don't even talk about internal things in the companies, even the world, like conditions, the how users react to new features, how they use your products, their preferences. Everything is changing. Competitors. So using this traditional approach is no longer that much efficient in terms of the project management and specifically software development. So the biggest challenge, I think, for the companies is to stay up to date and continue improving, continue inventing new ideas and new solutions. And we see that some companies, if they don't pay enough attention, if they don't invest enough resources in their digitalization, in their digital products, they can simply get out of the market in a very short time. So that's very challenging. The changes, the world is changing, and um, it's very important how like the abilities of the companies to adapt to these changes. And also it also relates to the people, because like just human beings, they feel more comfortable doing the same things every day. And if they know that something is progressing too fast, and they have to implement maybe new processes at their work, or new methods, new tactics, they you can see sometimes maybe some resistance. And that's another aspect to manage people, and their ability to adapt together with the company. um, um, so it's not that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And also another challenge, I would say, in the world of digitalization is to find this proper connection between the business and IT.
Mm.
So, so yeah, actually, IT folks were just we're like a service provider. Even if we talk about one company,
Mm-hmm.
we may have internal clients. Let's say a department that wants to implement a new solution to, let's say, optimize their operations.
Yeah.
So they come up with an idea, and they ask IT to help them, either internally if they have a team, if they have project management practices, they can build this solution internally, or maybe ask another vendor, which might be even more challenging. So finding this connection is very important, because some people from the business may not be fully aware of the benefits that the digitalization may bring. Uh,
Mm.
and maybe they just are resistant to change their processes,
Yeah.
and or maybe they're not enough motivated to try it. And from our side, we need to always work closely with the business people, because we produce product. We need to understand fully the requirements, what they need.
Mm.
If
Mm.
if something is missed, let's say we have a role in Scrum and Agile, like Scrum. If you have questions about Scrum, maybe I can dive deeper into this topic. But for now, it's like just a framework that helps to lead and run Agile projects. Scrum has some specific ceremonies and practices that teams follow to achieve their results. So in Scrum, we have a role product owner, which is the voice of the customer, like a person who must completely understand the requirements and the needs of the business. So this is a key role. If product owner just doesn't understand what he's required or she's required to do, yeah, and brings just random requirements to the team, we will build everything as proposed by the product owner. And we show, not we, but let's say IT team shows the results, and it doesn't meet the maybe the vision of management,
Yeah.
it's going to be a problem. So finding a connection between business people and IT is a key, I think.
Okay. All right. You have mentioned about few things just now. I mean, you have
Yes.
clustered it into one is the business, the business environment. I think in the ring during the intro earlier, I was saying, I mean, talking about the pandemic and all those things has actually pandemic is a blessing in disguise, because you know and I know that project management has been in the management sphere for a long time. It's just that people are so used of doing routine things like what you said, operations, the normal operations, routine operations. But the pandemic actually accelerate the use of agile, accelerate the use of Scrum and all those things, and this is where people are lost, and they are now bombarded with so many things. You have agile project management, you have Scrum and all those things, and then you have this term called sandbox and all those things. So I think a lot of people are now afraid, or either they are confused or they are afraid of what is in front of them. Maybe you can share some brief description about how agile and Scrum differs from the traditional project management. Alan?
Yes, okay. Yeah, I would be glad. So we have project management. Yeah, basically it just helps you or team to get from point A to point B. Yeah,
Yeah.
and in traditional project management you have certain stages in every project. So you just start with the initiation and planning, you form a team and you collect the requirements, all the work that has to be done in the future, and then you provide these requirements to the project team, let's say to software developers who look at them and they start developing the solution that you need according to these requirements. So as we know, also in traditional project management, the duration of a project might be for years. Yeah, and
Mm,
usually each stage takes a couple months until it gets to another one, and there
mm,
is no going back. So everything just goes according to the plan through different stages, and then when you complete the development, you test it, you show it to the users, and then the next stage is just you finish and you release your solution. So here the concern is that throughout this time, a year, let's say, or even few months, is the everything can change, and finally you can just simply find out that everything that you has built, your team has built, is no longer the users, they don't need it, or they need something else, something different.
yeah, yeah,
It's very applicable for the industries where the change where there is not so much impact, and like the environment is not is stable
mhm,
relatively. But if we look at IT, if we look at IT world, in Agile, what is different is that Agile actually is some people say, and even I look and I watch videos in YouTube, I see hear people saying that Agile.
sorry, sorry, agile is what? Because we lost you just now, Alan. Hello, Alan.
People
Hello, Alan. Hello, Alan. You frozen. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Alan. Yeah, we lost you just now. You talk about you're talking about agile, and then you're frozen. Uh, he will be back shortly. This is where the challenges in doing live stream, and you would see that sometimes because of the internet connection over the other side, yeah, is not stable. So you will have drop. But while waiting for Alan to come back in, and just to look at the chat, Nuraya Sharin, hello, assalamualaikum, waalaikumsalam. Thank you for being with us. And then another one, John, hello, doc. Hello, John. All right. So let's wait for Alan to come back. In the meantime, thank you, Noraya, and thank you, John, for being with us. And have another viewer. Who, please shout out in the box as to where you are viewing this from. Yeah. Because I know this is streamed live to Facebook and also to YouTube. So some of you might be viewing this from YouTube. Some of you might be viewing this from Facebook. I'm still waiting for Alan to come back in, and as he was saying that the conventional, project management, the traditional project management requires a very specific, defined um, user specification and all those things, business requirements and all those things. But the process, the traditional project management, or we call it the conventional project management, requires a lot of processes involved. Yeah, there are a lot of processes involved, and by the time you scope it, and then by the time you come up with all those activities within the traditional or conventional project management, by the time you execute it, sometimes the demand or the requirement is no longer there, because the business landscape is changing very fast, that organization must adapt and remain agile to the business processes or the business environment. So this is where, as I was saying earlier, the agile project management comes in to help the organization. Okay, here he's back here. Okay, all right. Hello, Alan. We miss you.
Yeah, apologies. Something
No worries.
wrong
No
with the
worries.
connection on the island,
No
island
worries.
live.
Okay.
So yeah, I stopped talking when I was talking about agile, and
Yes.
when I see some videos or read posts and or articles, I noticed that sometimes it's mentioned that agile is a methodology. So I would say that it's not true,
Mm-hmm.
and because agile actually is a philosophy,
Yes.
and it's let's say even a lifestyle, which is based on some certain principles.
Mm-hmm.
In general, these principles are about transparency, collaboration, close work, people, communications, and value delivery. So agile just is, it's like an umbrella for
Mm-hmm.
a philosophy that helps other frameworks under this umbrella to work and help people manage their projects. So under this umbrella we have a variety of frameworks. These are actual methodologies. We can say that these frameworks, they are built also on some principles, and one of the most well known in the world and used in biggest companies, in tech companies, are Scrum
Mm-hmm.
and Kanban.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think like according to statistics, around 80+% projects in the world run in
Okay.
Scrum.
Yeah.
And Agile, what is different from traditional project management is that you also have, you have budget, you have timelines, but what
Mm-hmm.
is different is that how you organize your from point A to point B. So rather
Mm-hmm.
than just going simply uh, in a linear action, you you have short cycles, that help you to, for example, start a project. You start a project with, of course, with requirements, and you form a backlog, which is just the list of everything that your business wants to, or your client wants to get, and it shouldn't be the finalized. It shouldn't be finalized. It can be something that is at this point of time with the current circumstances, and right away from the first day of your project, when your team is in place, you start working on these requirements. And usually, like these cycles, they're called sprints or iterations in Scrum. So you start every iteration. They last for 2, 3, or 4, maximum 4 weeks. So in practice, usually it's 2. And from the first day, you start developing a little piece of the product that is that has the highest value for users at this particular moment. You build this little piece, and then you test it with users, and then you demonstrate it to the users. If they accept that, you can even release to production and this feature. So like usually MVP is like minimum viable product, which means some features of the product or solution that can be brought to the public so that users can use the application, for example, and get your feedbacks, and you see and track how satisfied they are with these features. And throughout the sprint, again, in 2 weeks, you start with the planning, you review your scope, you review the highest priority items in your list,
Yes.
and you work with the product owner who identify these requirements with the team. Start again building. So it's like a snowball. It's growing like your product with new
Yeah.
features, and
Yeah.
usually it just takes a few months for it to build something that, like MVP was I mentioned, as I mentioned, something that they can already use. And after that, it's just ongoing process. Like actually, it can even have no end, because the requirements keep adding and
Yeah.
changing. So you adapt to the realities, you adapt to the market, and always change your product.
Yeah.
So
So,
difference between these two.
so, Alan, well, I mean, basing on what you have just described, do you face any challenges when it comes to implementing this philosophy? Because I know. I mean, we both are project managers. We involve in projects. Around the world. Um, because of the workforce or the team, we call it sometimes, because of the diversity in their age group, or I'm not saying old people no good, uh, or young people are too stubborn, but uh, that you have a variety of people that is working in your project team. And especially now in pandemic, a lot of people are working remotely, like what you are also experiencing, is that we are working remotely. And how does what are the challenges that you face in running your projects, and how do you overcome it? If you can share with us, Alan.
Yes, sure. So as you mentioned, it's mostly about working with people,
Mm-hmm,
project management manager role, and this actually the second part of my answer that I mentioned at the beginning. It's more
mm-hmm,
about like some personal things and challenges that I meet every and that I face. So it's more about personal aspect. I think because project manager is more like the results that you deliver. They're not tangible. They're intangible. There is intangible value, and you don't like produce the software yourself, but it's very difficult to work with people, like in general, because
mm,
especially in big companies, you need to, for example, follow certain processes and manage communications with many people. And
mhm,
um, actually here nowadays there might be people of different ages and interests and backgrounds in one team.
uh-huh,
So it's very important to um, manage properly how people communicate, the also the like the environment in your team,
mhm,
like to keep it friendly, honest, and transparency. And that's actually what Agile is based on. These principles of continuous collaboration, helping each other, being transparent and honest, help your peers, and lead not by um, control and command principles, but
mhm,
lead by example, and show people a proper model, like how what features people should have to maintain a proper good healthy environment in the team.
mhm,
Because sometimes when we're all people, and sometimes people do mistakes and they take wrong decisions. So I always keep telling my teammates that it's better to raise any concerns or risks or mistakes in advance, so that we can discuss it together and
mhm,
build our mitigation strategy together. And also people of different ages and cultures, in today's world, and especially in IT, there might be people from different countries who speak different languages.
yeah,
So we work with remote teams. Some of the members are based in US and
mm,
also Middle East or CIS countries. So there is a lot that a good project manager, or let's say Scrum Master, need to think about, and just always uh, be passionate about your work, and inspire people who work with you. This is something that I see as a today's world of project management, and also I think it's quite difficult to to have your eye on different aspects and things of a project. So you have stakeholders, you have priorities, you have scope, you have communications, meetings, facilitation, and there is so much that you need to have a control of.
mhm,
And what really helps is also agile approach. And for example, we manage our tasks by using some visualization tools,
mm,
and we use Kanban. For example, personally, I have an application on my mobile phone that helps me to even manage my personal
mm.
things. Yeah, personal things. And
Okay, good.
at work, I just simply write down and have everything on the board. So
Yeah.
Kanban is basically is a very simple approach, which means assign with cards. It was invented by Toyota, and it's
Mhm.
also related closely to lean, if you are familiar also with lean
Yes.
approaches. So you just flow of activities that you have in operations either, or a project, and that is that you just need to um, put all your work on a board, and with the help of cards and how you organize the columns, you just simply see the flow, how activities go through the process, and it's very helpful for operational teams also.
Mm-hmm.
Some products are also developed by using Kanban approach, and helps very much to on activities. I just keep tracking this, where
Mm-hmm.
if it's in a state where I need to get a response, or it's some state that I need to work on, have different priorities. So I know which thing I should focus on first, because my manager, my supervisor, let's say, wants me to report to him.
Uh-huh.
And the visualization techniques, you can see like the different cards, different colors, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
just everything. And you can see how loaded the team is, or yourself. Maybe some certain stages of the process may have bottlenecks because you don't have enough
Mm-hmm.
people in the team, and you have a bunch of activities in a certain um, area of your project activities. So it's just people do not recognize how beneficially it could be just to simply transform all your work on the board. So this helps me a lot also at my day work.
No, but yeah, true. Because now there's a lot of application that's available. Some of it free, some of it paid, like Monday.com and all those things, right? So it help people. Okay, but with all these challenges and all those things, uh, what would you? I mean, before we part, yeah. I mean, when we are having a fun, time move very fast. We are coming to the end of the show. But what would you suggest? Yeah, advice. I would rather you give some advice to the viewers, whether tonight who's viewing live, or maybe when they wake up in the morning, when they view it on Sunday. What would your advice be for those people who are, number one, going into project management, and then people who are already in project management? What are the key advice that you want to advise them?
Um, First of all, I think it's very important, like what we mentioned in terms of the changing circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
The people also need to always improve and keep trying to broaden their expertise and their knowledge. So uh, like as any company or professional, it's if you want to achieve your results that you set in your career goal, let's say, you just simply need to work on in this direction and keep improving. And if you want to start a career and in project management, and if you don't have any prior experience, I would suggest, of course, to build a theoretic foundation first, and
Okay.
start with the waterfall with the additional approach, because it's everything that it's just like a basis. And you need to understand what the project is, and how, what aspects and like what is project management, and how projects are managed, how you need to work with people, how you need to plan, what is scope, how you oversee your budget, and all these kind of things. Start with the foundation. And if you want to, if you have some experience, for example, and you don't have experience in Agile, there is a plenty resources in the internet that you can. A good way
Mm-hmm.
is just to get a certification. There are several certification providers, and if you they have a certain learning path that you need to follow, and that you just to understand with what to begin and what the next steps are. So and Udemy, Coursera are also good options. And of course,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
gaining practical experience is a must.
Yes.
So I would suggest you to find maybe an open position, a role in a company. It doesn't matter the size, unless you like it and you like the people and their culture. Start working and using this knowledge practice, and you'll achieve the expected results.
Yeah. Okay,
And
but sorry, go ahead.
also, maybe a good point is in the era of social medias and
Um,
stuff. LinkedIn, it's very, in my opinion, that's a key to build your self brand and
mhm.
to work on your LinkedIn profile. There are some good tips that you can find in Google and uh, other sources. Uh, just start building your self brand and participate in different workshops or live sessions and get connected to the people with the same interests and learn together. So
Mhm. Okay, but that's what. Thank you, Alan, for your advice. But it's just that I think you and we've been involved in Project Life, and Project Life is not for the weak heart. You have to have a lot of patience when running projects. And we'll take one last comment that is coming in from Farah Faisal, which is also a regular, thanking you for your time in sharing your experiences in your project environment. Thank you, Farah, for staying with us and for joining us on live tonight. Ellen, that's the time we have for tonight with you. Thank you very much for your time. I know you are in Thailand. Is coming out to 12 now, while here we are in Kuala Lumpur. Is coming up to uh, please please send my regards to your family, because I believe your family is also here, also there. And when you are back in Kazakhstan, do shout out, and maybe one day. If I were to go to Kazakh during some of those days, I will pop out some messages with you, and then we can touch base in Kazakh, yeah, in Almaty. If you Since you are based in Almaty or you're based in Aktau, we will fly there and then meet up with you. Again, Alan, thank you very much for your time. And please stay safe, yeah, over there.
can I say a few words also before we finish?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
please.
want to thank you for this very nice, warm conversation. It's my pleasure to be your speaker and to share my ideas with the audience. And thanks everybody for joining this call and for watching this video. And for sure, Dr. Faisal, we will see each other one day in Almaty probably. So yeah, definitely. And to everyone who is watching, feel free to reach out to me LinkedIn if you have any questions or you need some guidance. Maybe I'll be happy to help you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alan. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Alan Mukanov, an international business graduate, but also now majoring in project management, graduated masters in project management from New York University, and now working with major conglomerates on projects. And you have heard there's so many project management philosophies, methodologies, and all things, and whatever it is, don't get confused, don't be scared of all these terminologies that's being used by project management practitioners. Yeah, over the 30 plus years that I've gone through in project life, I've heard so many new things coming out, propping out, and all those things. And sometimes for individual who are not used to project life, they can it can be very intimidating. But what I'm trying to get at, what Alan is also saying, is that for those who are starting the project environment, for those who are going to start project environment or project life, get your fundamentals right first, and that is very important, because many people jump into projects without knowing what they're getting themselves into. Yeah, so get your fundamentals right. But again, in this digital world, if you remember my conversation with Mo Kuralai, yeah, in the digital world, is that sometimes we can learn so much, but until we start experimenting, then we start seeing the results. So this is where the tire meet the tar, yeah, the road. And what Alan has saying just now is that you need to get the experience. Yeah, you need to get the experience, enroll yourself not only in the fundamental classes or courses, but also get yourself involved in a project environment or project work. And some of the platform that he's mentioned is that, like LinkedIn, for example, there's a lot of engagement and collaboration in the project environment. And for those who are already in the project environment, or already in the project life, living in the project world, you never stop learning. You have to continuously continue to learn, because the world is changing, the technology is changing, the processes are changing, the tools are changing, the way we work is changing, and the business landscape is changing. So we have to be very, 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 how shall I say, a very alert, yeah, and always be on the toe as to what is happening around the world, and also internally within the organization. All right, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, thank you for viewing this live stream, and thank you for those comments, and for those who are um, joining us next week. Please block your calendar, because the next week Kurala is coming back on part 2, where we going to talk about how to go about into digital marketing. She talked about digital marketing earlier in part 1, and we have not finished the conversation. And she agreed to come back again next week for the part 2, to continue on the conversation. So please block your calendar next week. Yeah. And until then, until we meet again, please, we are not out of this pandemic, and the cases are still high. Please, 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 stay safe, and be vigilant of your surrounding, and the family and all those things, and the society. Together we can beat this pandemic. With that, I wish you everyone a blessed Sunday. And for those who are the other part of the world, who are just starting their Saturday, a very good morning. For those who are in the US time zone, and for those who are in the Middle East, a very good evening, because it's coming out to 9 o'clock in Dubai. And for those who are Kuala Lumpur, have a blessed Sunday. And thank you very much for your time in viewing this live stream. And God bless.
Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.